Hi, I'm Neal Brennan, and I have a Netflix special called Blocks, now streaming. In the special, I talk about the things that make me feel like something's wrong with me, make me feel crazy. So now I have a podcast that you're listening to where I do the same thing, but I make my friends come on, and they tell me about their blocks. And my guest today is a longtime friend. I'm actually almost embarrassed by how we met. I'll explain. Roy Wood, everybody. He's the your newest intro is you're the host of the Correspondence Dinner this year, so congrats on that.
Yeah.
Our origin story is didn't I Facebook? No, I saw it. Did I Facebook message you?
It was AOL.
AOL. It wasn't like Messenger.
No, it was email.
Yeah.
It's email. After Def Comedy Jam.
You had a great joke. You had a joke about Martin Luther King, right?
Yeah, I don't remember the joke, but there was an MLK joke. There was a sauce joke.
It was about MLK. It's like you can't be a leader. You can't be a political leader and a little racist. It was like, I hope we get to the mountaintop. Not you Mexicans or something.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
We can't, black people can't hate other minorities. We have to
Yeah. But it struck a chord.
And you're like, that kid's got something in him.
In my racist heart. No, I love a good racial joke. So I feel like I messaged you and a manager.
No, it was just me. You found my AOL email at the time. To be fair, this is 06 for context.
Yeah, I wasn't doing stand-up really. I was I did it for a couple of years, a little bit, and then I retired.
It was just casual. It wasn't like, it was just, hey man, great set. That was funny.
Yeah,
I was like very appreciative, which to this day is the reason why I'll message comics that I don't fucking know. And be like, hey, that was a good late night.
Feel the same way. And I told this story to somebody the other day. When people talk about Lorne Michaels as like, Lorne Michaels. Lorne told me a story of he wrote a joke for Woody Allen when Woody Allen was a comic. Mm-hmm. And Lorne and his partner wrote a joke that ended up that Woody did, and they were playing pool with Woody, and Woody was like, that's a good joke. And Lorne goes, we ate out on that for 6 months. Like Woody Allen liked our joke. Like you can get high. That's like a form of when someone you respect like says, hey.
Yes.
I still try to do it.
That's what it was. If I see a comic that I like in the club, I'll just say hello, but like, I don't have any career opportunities for you, but I just want to let you know, hey,
yes,
I observe your craft and I think it is good.
Yes.
Goodbye now.
Keep doing it.
And it's not like I replied back, Neal Brennan saved me or anything.
You said, when are you going to start mentoring me?
No, I would have never. You know what's fucked up, man? I'll help other comics, but then if they make like a formal request like that, it makes me nervous.
Oh,
because somehow I'm responsible.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go right.
You all know my mentor.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't.
When he's getting hauled off to jail, call my mentor, Roy Wood Jr.
I think this is a mentorless job.
I was thinking recently, the idea that any comedian ever has said a thing that I told them to say is so crazy. Meaning you're basically going like, they have to trust you so much, or just, you know what I mean? Like your judgment. Yeah. Like, I think this will work.
Do you remember the first comic you pitched a joke to?
Well, the funny thing with me is I pitched a joke to Marin. That was a mistake. Like 92, 93. I pitched a joke to... I remember I pitched a joke to Royale Watkins 92, 93. Didn't work.
Peak Def Jam.
Yeah.
91, 92. Every black comic was trying to be...
Yeah, Royale popped off that shit. Didn't work. And then I pitched a couple to Dave, and those worked. That he didn't want them to work. They just were like, I just had.
This is when you're at the door.
Yeah,
at the Boston
doorman. Yeah,
Boston Comedy Club.
Yeah. Anyhow, so getting someone to, it's just like a miracle that someone has to be funny. Although if you're just looking at blind pitches and you go, that's a good joke, like but if the person doesn't look trustworthy, it's a weird thing. It's like, would you want the person to be good looking or not? If you read a good joke and someone was like, I wrote that joke, hi Roy, nice to meet you, you'd be like, I don't trust that joke.
When a good looking person wants to do, like, what do you want?
I don't trust it. I would just lose faith in the joke, like, pretty motherfucker.
I used to go through that phase in college, like gorgeous women it was always Jesus. It's like, what church are you about to invite me to?
If a good looking girl,
if a good looking woman approached
so
me,
funny.
it was always Jesus.
Yeah.
There was like a good 2-3 year stretch where it's just, and to this day.
I have a similar but different thing. If a woman is like a little too good looking for me, if she like slides in my DMs, 95% of the time, Canadian. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I'm like a Canadian 7.
Like you need to move, bro.
I mean, it's Roy. That cold ain't nothing's worth that cold.
She gonna keep you warm, but that Canadian bosom.
Canadian titties. I thought you were getting ready to say Canadian titties, and I was here for it, sweetie. The first block.
Which sidebar? Let me just say, terrible concept for a podcast.
Thank you very much.
Just bring your friends on and just force them to.
I know. I'm milking my friends for their troubles.
Not milking, but you're helping strangers through us having this conversation. I understand that, but it's also like, had I not gone to therapy, I wouldn't even know what the fuck my blocks were.
That's hopefully people are aspiring to come on the podcast and they go to therapy. This makes people go to therapy because they go, it's someday I'll be in the big leagues. All right. This is a good one. This is a good one. And one I didn't know, and I relate to it. You make yourself small and you need to learn how to be selfish. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's kind of a block and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can break them up. You make yourself small.
I think that I make the mistake of not owning who I am. Like in that sense. Like, and it's not even arrogant as much as it is just blunt. Like I remember, and I had the realization of it. I was late for a flight. Let's just say it's 10 minutes till the doors close and I'm on the wrong side of security. A guy on the same flight, and I can hear him as he's approaching. Excuse me, my flight leaves it. Leaves it. And this fucking white dude deboed his way through a 3-turn queue line all the way to the front, past me, past the blue shirts, through security. And I got to the gate literally like as they're closing the door and pushing back.
Maybe the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when you see the plane.
Yeah.
And the plane's still there. It's clear.
The worst is when the door's still open, but they won't let you on.
Oh, I
like, sorry. They've done that to me. And you want to like punch them and fucking run.
But they're holding the printout.
Yeah.
Once they have the printout in their hand,
it's over.
Yeah. It's fucking, these are all the motherfuckers.
No, sorry. There's nothing we can do.
The printer has spoken. It was one of those moments, like a realization, like just all I had to do was just fucking be bold.
Yeah.
To do it.
Tell me what you say.
I don't know, because I've never made that move before. Like I'm also the guy on the train who will immediately try to accommodate and move and here's some space for you, or the elevator, but the elevator is too crowded, or instead of just standing there and going, no.
Well, it's like the thing where there's like a pregnant lady standing and you're just like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. On the subway and you're just like, this is just what happened.
Yeah, or
it's just like, the way the seats broke down.
Yo, I will look at a motherfucker from 3 motherfuckers away and try to like telepathically come sit here. But that just looks crazy on the train. And like the train is one of the places where asshole is the assumed default behavior.
Yeah.
So I actually feel like I have a little bit of power.
I have a joke that didn't quite work about the train, which is riding the subway in New York. It's hard to tell who is mentally ill and who is an unsigned rapper. It's a little too specific.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, on this train.
It's this dude just like, like the guy who's rapping to himself.
Who has a beat in their head versus who has a voice in their head.
Yeah.
But it's this idea of not always, the default is not for me to always fight for what I deserve.
Well,
and that's to a detriment. And then that gets twisted into, oh, Roy's nice. He's a nice person.
People mistake your kindness for weakness, and they're right.
Yeah. And then they fucking exploit it.
Yeah.
They try to, at least. I'm more aware of it now, but.
So is it, it's passivity?
Yeah. Yeah, 1,000% that. But I don't know where that came from.
In my life, I found that I sometimes assume women are fragile. And I assume it because my mom's got 10 kids and was married to an asshole, right? And got through it. And at the same time, she is fragile. And there is a thing of like caretaking involved. that I'm sure there's some, what I know about you, and you're still close with your mom, and I feel like there's a party that like wants to take care of her, right?
Yeah, that's a huge part of a lot of my shit. But I'll also, well, you know what? I do think that part of it was school.
Well,
And
yes.
transferring school. I was never in the same school district for more than 2 years until high school. When we moved to Birmingham in the 3rd grade, and every 2 years, different side of town. So
Was
you're
it
just
ever
trying to fit
Catholic
in.
school or public school?
2 weeks. I did Catholic school for 2 weeks.
That's all it took.
And just, I was a behavioral nightmare.
Were you really? What year?
And I wasn't in 4th grade. And I wasn't even, a shout out to Ephesus Academy in Birmingham.
Sure.
You can claim me now on your website as an alum.
2 weeks, asterisk, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. And then y'all told me to take my ass back to Central Park. But this idea of just wanting to fit in, not wanting to make a lot of trouble. I didn't get picked on a lot in school. I could use jokes a little bit to fit in, but I was never one of the cool kids, but I wasn't like ostracized.
Yeah.
So let me just sit calm, and maybe like being small in a room, maybe that, I guess, carried over into adulthood. Like, all right, perfect example. This correspondence dinner, right? There's gonna be some big party after that shit where you're gonna fucking see all of the big wigs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna walk in that party, and as best I can, I'm gonna make a lap around the perimeter. I play the perimeter of a party. I'm not a center of the party person.
Yeah.
If your proximity from the action in a party dictates your personality, I'll go to the party, but I'm on the edge. I'm at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit at the bar because I know everybody eventually has to come to the bar, and then I'll talk to you on an individual, whatever basis.
And you act like you're waiting for a drink?
Ding, ding.
That's funny.
And that's my move. Or I get a drink and I just nurse it.
Oh, got it. Because it looks like you're waiting for somebody.
Look like I just got my drink. Yeah, that type of shit. So it's a way for me to be able to manage conversations without there being like this huge social pressure to be the life.
Do you judge the life of the party? Do you think it's shallow? It's like I didn't do stand-up for a long time because I pretended that I thought I wasn't a ham. Like, I could never. I would never.
That's beneath.
What?
Oh.
So look at them.
No.
And then I realized, like, oh, yeah.
Only time I don't fuck with lives of the party is when they try to drag me into the center, into the nucleus of whatever the social thing is that's happening. I enjoy playing the edge. Like if you took me to a family barbecue, I'm going to hang by the dude at the grill. Nobody hangs by the grill. That's my spot.
Right.
But everybody's got to come to the grill.
You just wait, man. You just in the cut.
Yeah.
You're literally in the cut.
But that doesn't always behoove you in a career where you have to be loud, screaming and yelling and social media posting all the time so people will know about your shows and all that. Here's a clip of me doing the thing from the...
Y'all should have seen me last night.
God bless my fucking social media managers because, hey, we think this clip from last night, you should post this. That's not funny. I don't want to.
Yeah.
They'll post it and they'll do 1,000 retweets.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, you were right.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just let them post it?
Well, because I want to control and curtail the things that I put out that reflect back on my image, and I don't want people to think I'm bragging too much. But it's like, no, I have to start owning it. You have to stop being small.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I am hosting the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, I am going to fucking crush it. I am going to guest host the Daily Show and fucking knock that out the park. So you have to start thinking like that. And since I've started shifting those thoughts in the last like 2 years, year and a half, that's where shit has started to fucking turn the corner.
Well, what I'm saying is, do you think it's a personality thing where you're like, there's something like shitty about, you judge the people that do it. You judge the hams. You judge guys that are good at it. Because there are guys that are like really good promoters, and Kevin Hart's really good promoter and really funny. I
don't judge it, but I definitely envy that I don't have that skill set sometimes.
But don't you think it's characterological? Don't you think it's in your personality to just be like, Like, I bet third grade Roy was still on the same shit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I just wouldn't. I'd always decided to accept making myself small because I felt like being big would be an inconvenience to someone. And I didn't want to be, and I don't want to be an inconvenience. I don't want to draw any attention away from what y'all, y'all go ahead and have a good time. It's always putting myself second, third, or sometimes fourth in a situation, like that's not good.
Do you think you were always like, do you think it's learned? Do you think it was like just in you? Because I kind of feel like where I am in terms of my orientation to humanity is like, we're these spirits and we get dipped in this human, and we have some spirit characteristics, and then we have these human ones. Like, just like, oh, you're Neal Brennan and you're like, your parents are this, and then, and it's like so you wonder like some of this shit, because you go, I don't know where I got that from.
I can tell you how early it happened, but to say that this was the inciting incident that created that behavior.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's ever as clear an origin story.
Yeah, I don't have that, but I can. Yeah, I was totally making myself small here and there. I swapped shifts with people at work in high school.
Did anyone ever make you feel like an imposition? If there was an origin story, would it ever be like someone shamed you for trying to stand up for yourself? Stink.
Comedy club bookers. And that's really where it fucked me for a long time, is because if you don't stand up for yourself in this business, motherfuckers will roll over you. And they did for a long time with me. And so if you already feel like you don't belong, or you're just happy to be here, you're going to behave like you're just happy to be here instead of behaving like you belong.
Yeah.
And presentation dictates perception. So now the people around me are treating me like, well, I don't know, is that motherfucker fine? I don't know, he ain't acting like he should be here. So
should have worn sunglasses.
We just did some shit the other night for Byron Allen. It was me, Kenan Thompson, Tommy Davidson, Sid, Gary Owen, Tiffany Haddish, like enough people that are higher than me on the comedy totem pole, but we've all gone to school together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm familiar with you.
Yeah.
So for me, something like that, how I played that now versus how I would have played that 5 years ago, like now, oh no, I'm going to stand next to Seth the Entertainer and go, what's up, man? How you been? How's it like, et cetera, et cetera. Versus, hey, I see y'all over there, but I'm going to be over here in my corner.
Not as good as y'all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That type of shit, which I still have a lot of that in me, but it's about acting against that impulse so that you can drive yourself to grow psychologically. Because you can't, you can be shy, you can be quiet, but you cannot be a pushover. And so I think making yourself small, you're putting two strikes against yourself.
I don't like faking it till you make it as a general practice, but I don't think this is that. I think this is like, so you've done some shit at this point. In terms of like the order of those people, there's two different orders. There's like the funniest, then there's the most popular, then there's the richest, but you're on all those lists.
Yeah, for that room on that night, I deserve to be here. I've done enough, so I can stand here next to you motherfuckers and we can talk. We may not have done as many shows together. We may not have as long of a comedy backstory together, but you know me and you know what. So I'm going to stand here. I will be in the center of the room.
I don't think you were right to take Cedric's drink from his hand.
Well, I shouldn't. He shouldn't have let me take it. I snatched that shit like jail. Motherfucker, give me your drink.
I think that was wrong. What made you like go, that's enough?
Fatherhood has a lot to do with it.
Go. Here we go.
Fatherhood like restructures your DNA a little bit in terms of what examples am I setting for him?
Right.
Like once shit started hurting my money, which then in turn hurts my ability to provide, I'm not fucking playing with you no more.
Yeah.
So whatever the fuck I feel or whatever hesitancies I have about saying or not saying some shit, that shit's out the window. There was a staffing change I needed to make on the podcast, and I've never fired anyone or made a change or anything like that.
Oh, I think I remember you talking about this, and it's funny. Like, how did you find it?
because it was fucking with my money.
Right, but no.
My son.
By the way, you're talking like a character on Power tonight. Where you're like,
you fucking with
so
my
that's
money,
what. Then my son was born, and I'm not fucking with you. Once my son is here,
like Adam Ferrara, fucking swarmy lawyer.
So I haven't watched Yellowstone. Is this what it's like? It's this with Southern accents.
There's certain things that you have to come to grips with, and you have to face them immediately.
And you would say the biggest catalyst, your son.
Absolutely.
I also
for
like
everything
for the people at home that you refer to your son as the boy, as often as you talk. I was saying to the boy.
Yeah, the boy. The boy.
Also,
some people don't like it. I said it one time to a woman I was talking to one time.
I love it. It's so goddamn funny.
She did not like it. Your son has a name, and I just don't understand why you're disrespecting him. I'm like, but you know me. You know the intent. Like, words are just sounds with your throat. Like it,
Yeah.
Which brings me to another block.
Yes.
Leadership.
Great. Not on here, and I like it.
Yeah. I'm not a good leader. And that's something that I'm working on now.
Leadership is hard, man. The only male leadership that we see are sports coaches, which is a lot of yelling.
It's very militaristic.
And military. Yelling.
Which is fully militaristic.
Yeah. Which is also very militaristic. Ironically enough. And parenting. And if you've gotten, if your dad's around, if he's a good leader of the family, if you see that resolve conflict well, so if you haven't seen any of that stuff, it's really hard.
Now, my pops was for sure, like I can call it now, he was for sure anxious avoidant. So he didn't him and my mom didn't argue often. He just would not do.
Yeah.
Or he would talk his shit and dip. Good dad, bad husband, I guess is probably the best way that I've always explained him. And this is the shit no one can prepare you for, train you for. I don't have a fucking mentor on leadership, but also don't have the best examples either.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's at a certain point you have to be your own example.
Like even now, when people ask about the Daily Show and they're like, "Oh, do you want to host the Daily Show?" and they talk about this shit solely from a place of, do you want the chair and to be funny and political satire?
It's like, that's the tip of the iceberg.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Do you want to lead 95 people 4 days a week into battle? And you're the general. And then you have to also establish that you're the general.
Yeah.
In the building where you've been since you was an intern. Like this idea of, are you ready to crack jokes and take down the establishment? That's easy.
Yeah.
Can I lead 90 people?
Yeah.
Like even watching Trevor, that's probably the best example of leadership that I've gotten. And then
it's one of the best one I've gotten. And I was barely there and I barely saw him, but he's a very, very, he is truly like equanimity. Like he truly is knows how to.
It petrifies me because to be a leader, and this is where fatherhood has helped to play a role a little bit, is that and it's not just, this isn't just hosting the Daily Show. This is any show that I go and produce and I become an executive producer, or I go to some other network and I'm going to go do my own thing. You're still in charge of 95 motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out a tactful way to get them to want to try something that they may not necessarily see or understand or even agree with, and give their all to it and not be resentful in their effort in the moment. And that is a way of talking to people that more often than not, there is no class to take. There is no prep course.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to pray to fucking God that you had good examples along the way and you do what they did. And that's the best that I can hope for. Because I've used this analogy before with leadership, but with my son, I'm his first general.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I don't yell. I'd say 95% of the time. And even then, I'm not screaming. It's just, hey, dude, hey, Stop making me
Well, it's
ask
also a
you
thing
3
that you
times.
have to use judiciously in that, like, you want it to work. Although yelling does always work with children.
After a while, though, it doesn't like with kids. Because even with whippings with me, I got whipped as a kid, but somewhere around 5th grade, my mom stopped because she just knew I didn't give a fuck. Like, you're going to do your thing.
Yeah.
You're going to go on with me, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So she had to figure out new psychological, and she did. She evolved. So it's the same thing with me where, all right.
She evolved to electrocuting you a little bit, right?
Motherfucker, I'm gonna stab you.
Get my taser.
Like Bo Jackson's mom, who like pointed a gun at him one time.
Really? That's
yeah,
fun.
there's some story about that. But like with my son, I've told this analogy before, but like when I'm working with him and we're building Legos together, there's like 2 ways to do Legos where you can follow the instructions, right? We do the instruction, and then there's times where we're freestyling Legos. And we're just both building shit. And he'll try to tell me what to do with my pieces. And I'm trying to tell him what to do with it. And it's not fucking working. But if we both agree before we start building, all right, hey, what the fuck are we building? Building an airplane? All right, cool. Check it out. You do the fuselage. You do the front. I'll do the tail. We'll do the wings together. Deal? Deal. Cool. And whatever we put together, we just combine. And it's the smoothest fucking thing. And like that's really where I learned the whole concept of like, oh, you've got to go team go before you break huddle to even go and fucking do the thing.
Blue Chew is a unique service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in a chewable tablet and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. I know what you're thinking. Neal, there's no way in heck you would ever need something to strengthen your penile erections. That's what I call them. Penile erections. Hi, I don't think we met. I'm Neal. And, but wake up, dummy. It's insurance. You can probably get a boner, but why risk it? You know what I mean? Like, just call for backup, as it were. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Neal, Neal at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com. Promo code Neal to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you, Blue Chew. Call for backup. Today's episode is sponsored by Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. How do you feel when you find a deal? Do you feel smart, lucky, excited? What about when you're surprised by a deal? Does it feel like you're getting a treat for free, a little special treat? Thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite sites. When you check out, the Honey button appears, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons it can find for that site. And if Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch the prices drop. I've used Honey myself. I swear to God, I've been using it for years. Otherwise, I wouldn't endorse it. It's almost weird how much I use it. Honey doesn't just work on desktops. It works on your iPhone too. Just activate it on Safari on your phone and save on the go. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. Get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/Neal. That's joinhoney.com/Neal. Honey, 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 honey. Power up for springtime with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Get nutritious chef-prepared meals delivered straight to your door, leaving you time and energy to tackle everything on your to-do list. I ate this. They sent it to me. They sent me a bunch. Some had meat, which I don't do. But a couple more were veggie, and I had mushroom risotto. I believe it's not, if I were at home, I could tell you, but I ate it and it was literally delicious. Like actually great. It wasn't like, ugh. It was like, oh, this like tastes like I ordered it. Choose from keto, vegan and veggie, calorie smart, and protein plus options on the menu each week. Prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians, each meal has all the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long. Head to factormeals.com/Neal50 and use code Neal50 to get 50% off your first box. That's code Neal50 at factormeals.com/Neal50 to get 50% off your first box. I want to talk about fatherhood as it pertains to your perception of your father. Go.
You're only asking that because I'm going to unpack that shit in the next couple of years. That's like
because I was telling somebody before you got here, like the story, your dad's story is so crazy and great. It's like more cinematic than cinema. Like screenwriters are like, what the fuck?
Straight villain turned hero.
Yeah. But okay,
could have been villain.
Tell the story about your dad.
The finding your root story?
Yeah.
The car?
Yes.
Okay, so the backstory.
Well, let's set it up like how would you categorize? Is your father still alive?
No, my father passed in 95. I was 16.
Okay. So it never got to be especially good. Was it ever especially bad? Your relationship with your dad?
It was never bad. It was distant.
Okay.
It was distant to a degree.
Okay. And he was a bit of a philandering. He got it. Rolling Stone.
I am the ninth. I'm my mother's only child. I'm the ninth of 11 children.
On your father's side.
Correct.
Yeah.
By, I think, 4 women, I think is the count. But my father, like, I almost don't even like leading with that because on the job side of the game, a stellar fucking journalist that covered everything from the Soweto riots in South Africa. He was in Rhodesia covering the Civil War. He chose to be embedded in Vietnam. He was not sent there. He's like, where the black people at? They getting racism? All right, send me.
Yeah, he
did that shit.
He kind of march with.
Not kind of, motherfucker. Did every civil rights shit you can name. Motherfucker was there with a tape recorder.
He was doing it or covering it.
Yeah.
So, well, that's the thing. It's like
he did a radio show with Ernie Banks in the 60s in Chicago.
Like they co-hosted?
Yeah, like the way Aaron Rodgers does his Monday morning, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
My pops just talking racism.
Ernie Banks is, I believe, called Mr. Cub, and also he's anti-vax, and he's done ayahuasca in the last year, right?
We don't know.
Are we doing Aaron Rodgers?
Died long
is that
before.
An Aaron Rodgers show?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not here to like.
No, I understand.
I never gotten the sense that you didn't. Your dad's a people contain multitudes.
But it's an important part of the story in terms of. So my father walked with a limp. So my dad. Oh, sidebar. So I have 2 younger half brothers from a woman that my father was with after he was with my mom.
Okay,
and so that's who we ended up kind of being with until he died. And I do Finding Your Roots, and they start breaking down.
Show on PBS, Dr. Henry Louis Gates, where you go, people, they trace your
send
family
DNA,
tree.
they trace your shit with, was it birth certificates, wedding, marriage licenses, house deeds, census data. They can literally it's just all paperwork. It's just how patient are you to go through all the microfilms at various libraries. So I go and do this show, and they made some calls. And so my father always walked with a limp. And I had this feeling like when I had my son, where you kind of, when I had my son at least, you go through this whole, I'm going to do this with him. I'm going to do that. Man, I can't wait to just have this life with him.
And is it a reaction to your dad?
No, in that moment, I'm just thinking about what I want to do with him.
Right. But is that the stuff that's like, unlike my...
No, it was just
I like
fucking love, bro.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, okay, well, how am I going to teach that? Well, who taught me that? Not my dad. Dad didn't teach. Shit, he didn't teach me that either. Who the fuck? Well, what the fuck did he teach me? And like this idea, and then the resentment years later. My pops died when I was 16. I'm 37 years old in the hospital holding my firstborn. And now I'm mad.
That's funny.
Now I'm mad.
Yeah.
And I talked to my two younger half brothers, and we had a conversation, bro. We had a long conversation just about what the dynamic was like. I know it was like when my dad was home, but what was it like when he was over at your house?
Right.
And what they walked me through was like just a totally different fucking, like my pops, my parents worked different shifts, so they were never really in the house at the same time, just in general, which I guess worked out for the better. But like, I really only saw my dad on Sundays. I would see him in passing, and he would pick me up from sports shit and drop me off, and then he would head back to the radio station or to, go out in the streets and go drink or whatever. So like, I didn't really have the same regular family interaction with him. Anytime I was out with him, I knew he was respected, and people respected me. People treated me very kind. Like, my dad did a lot of good shit in the city, and like it was nothing for us to swing by. Like, my pops was the one that would pull up where the homeless people are warming and just hand out 20s. Like, he did good shit. Then I called my little brothers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Daddy checked our homework. He would show up to practice and watch practice." And I'm like, "What the fuck is going on over there?"
Squeezing your baby harder and harder.
I'm squeezing my jaw. I'm 37 and I'm fucking mad at a dude that's been dead almost.
Yeah, a while.
25 years.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you
right.
can't.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? So a couple years go by. I go do Finding Your Roots. And so my father walks with this limp. And anytime we had talked about it, it was always like, "Oh yeah, your daddy got hit by a car when he was a teenager." And that's all they told us. And that's all he would say.
Right.
All
and there was like upkeep too, right? He'd have to get it.
Oh yeah, because he got hit, his hip got shattered in a couple of places. And this is peak puberty. So we had to get a hip replacement every like 5 to 7 years to keep up with his growth.
This is puberty in the 50s, peak puberty.
Oh yeah, Pops was tall, 6'3". So I don't know what he was when he got hit, but he grew up to 6'3". There's only so much elevation you can put on a shoe. We go, "Hey man, we gotta cut you open again, get you a new leg."
Yeah.
So he gets hit by a car or whatever, and he lives his life with a limp. Handsome man, had the gift of gab. I guess if you have a limp, then you make up for it with charm or whatever. So I go on Finding Your Roots, and I come to find out the day my father got hit by the car, he was walking his high school sweetheart home from school. And there was another, like, let's just say he's a sophomore or some shit. And there's a senior that starts spitting game at my dad's chick. And his game's tight, and he pulled her. He fucking pulled my pop's girlfriend in front of him. And she goes walking off with the new dude.
I never even like really heard of this until you told me.
Like, the 50s was just wild. Like, you just say, "Bitch, come with me, baby." What you doing with that loser?
What? You need to be,
Somebody could literally just pull, like, I've heard of that as like in some weird, like the, what was that? The Snoop, what?
Yeah,
the Doggy Style album.
Yeah, like
the game. Your bitch chose me.
It's a scene from the Mac or something. It's like they're doing another scene, but it's still like cartoon shit.
Yeah, but this really happened.
Yeah.
So a dude come down off the porch, pull my pop's girlfriend. They go gallivanting down the sidewalk. My dad, I guess he's walking all behind, dejected. The new couple. They go through the crosswalk, and the girl drops her book. Your
father's ex-girlfriend drops 5 minutes, drops her book. Maybe not even 5 minutes.
Newly half a block.
90 seconds, yeah.
Half a block ex drops her book in the crosswalk. My pops, being a gentleman, goes out into the crosswalk to get the book, gets hit by a car. Now, with that information, how do you think that informed how he saw women and how he chose to treat women and relationships after that?
Positively? Respectfully?
So I'm not going to say it made it right, but it gave me a different understanding of, oh, you just didn't trust nobody. That's why you never really took marriage serious. You just did it to keep women content.
Yeah.
But you didn't really give a fuck. You just were just going to do what you wanted to fucking do.
Yeah.
And that's what you
Thinking
did.
that they were going to do the same program.
Some got in line, some didn't.
Right. Well, no, he probably thought they were going to be cheating on him and they didn't care and they were going to leave him for anywhere he went.
Correct.
They could just be plucked.
Could you imagine having, like, just think about how pure high school love is.
Yeah.
And for that to just like have your, and he's from that no therapy generation. So he ain't talked to nobody about this shit. And his pops died.
They used to firebomb therapist's office back then.
Yeah.
Throw Molotov cocktails if you open it.
He's 13 or 14 years old when this happens. My father lost his father when he was 4. And on top of that, he disappeared. He was disappeared in Georgia. So my grandfather on my dad's side just straight up didn't come home one night. And that's the story on him. So that's some Georgia lynching shit. So you're dealing with that. And then also, according to Finding Your Roots, there was no new male head of household listed on the census paperwork at any period of his life after the Georgia incident.
So the mom your grandmother,
never remarried.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know if there's some dude in the house here and there,
Sure.
but we know for sure she never remarried. And in those days, you wasn't just letting some motherfucker come lamp up at your house. You had to you had to marry.
It's early lamping.
Yeah. This is what they call them, hobosexuals now. Like, so what man was there to fucking help his self-esteem or to help him do any of that shit?
Yeah.
Bro?
I mean, there's about a million things thoughts I have about this in terms of we all want to hold our parents to a standard, right? They're superheroes. And
how could you, motherfucker?
Yeah, and what you didn't care, all this. And I wish that every parent had as clear a motive or explanation or origin story for their behavior. Yeah. And it's that thing, you never know what someone else is carrying. And sometimes it's your dad. You know what I mean?
But
this guy, this pillar,
never talked about it. And keep in mind, he's still at the point where I am, like where he and I really started spending time together. About a year before he died was when I got my learner's permit. So I would drive him to all of his speaking engagements. So I would sit in the back of churches and Elks Lodge halls and all that shit and just watch him give speeches. But never talked about that shit, never volunteered it. And that's the thing that I really want to like kind of key in a little bit on stage at some point. It's like your parent, and then on top of that, PTSD of the civil rights movement. Like, that's also not forget, he's also getting shot at in every war and getting cracked over the skull when he comes home. And then also your leg got crushed because
you tried to be nice to a woman who spurned you.
Exactly. You know the game. Your bitch chose me. And
that's like very. It's like it's such a crazy.
You couldn't
story.
None of our parents, none of our untherapied parents are truly prepared to unpack that shit with us, the children, because they haven't even done it for themselves yet.
I broached some stuff with my mom in the last year about her childhood. Her mom died when she was like 2 or 3. You think she's grieved? You know what I mean? Like hasn't done any unpacking, as we call it.
Yeah.
All they knew was how to pack. They were expert packers. And it's how presumptuous is it of me to think she might have the skills or interest to do that?
Yeah, I think you and I were talking about that a little bit when I was talking about my mom. Like, I think this demand that someone unpack is unfair. Number one, two, if they're happy, yeah, leave it alone.
Or yes, it is a little disappointing. I will, if I can empathize with the younger generation. It's a little disappointing when you feel like you did this work. It's not easy work, but it is helpful. And you want them to kind of get to your emotional level. But it's literally, they already have a phrase for it. You're trying to teach an old dog new tricks. How old do you think that is? 120 years old? It's foolish.
Yeah, but just think about how many of their emotions have calcified at this point.
Of course.
Like it's almost like on some,
like it's geologically impossible.
Yeah. I mean, my mom and I, we talked a little bit just about some of those days and some of those times, and it's been productive, but also don't want to be the person to every time I go home and she's just happy to see me because I'm home. Hey, here's your grandson.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like,
oh,
wow.
I love my grandbaby. Talk to me about father. I want to drag her through that shit. So I mean, every year I'll get one or two questions.
Yeah.
Answered.
No, yeah, exactly.
I'm like, all right, that's good for this year.
Yeah, like that's all. No, you know what? I think we did good today. It's a bit of a race against time.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting older.
But also what I've learned from my mother is like, when they say happiness is a choice, that is a motherfucking truthful thing.
Yeah. My mom used to say that all the time.
My mom is definitely masterful at that. And when I look back at like our life, I can go, oh, damn, you really were like intentional. Like all of this other shit was going around, but you were like, no, I'm going to grad school, I'm getting a law degree, getting a PhD. And I'm going to get, like, she just had a North Star and just never let anything else around her shake her. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that our parents are, as much as we look up to them, like, they didn't know everything they were doing. I don't know everything I'm doing. Like, I'm raising a child that is smarter than me at the same mile marker, that I don't know, it is yet to be seen how new disciplinary techniques.
Right. There's no long-term studies.
You don't know if you did it right until.
Even like when people go like participation trophies, they might work. We don't know. I mean, as an example of one thing of like the one that gets all the, but that might work. It's like somebody was saying, it's the Dr. Spock thing, the thing about like letting your kids cry through the night.
Yeah.
That was a new thing. And it was totally accepted in the 70s.
I forget what it's called.
It was totally accepted. And somebody was going, I remember when you were getting like sleep trained by your parents and you would just cry. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, but they probably thought it was good. I don't know. Yeah. It's as you were talking, like the responsibility of, so it's a biological urge. Fucking is a biological urge. And then it's a thing you just do. And then 10 months later, you have a child. It would be like if you just fucked and then you had a Fortune 500 company. That's how prepared. It's like, I don't know anything about books, bookkeeping, running a business, management, any of this shit. And then, but the expectation is you have to be perfect.
Tommy Johnigan had a great joke on Letterman. He's talking about how it sucks because you can literally just accidentally make a person.
Yeah.
And you have you could never accidentally make a shed.
Yeah, that's so
there's
funny.
Planning, there's supplies, you have to lay it all out.
Yeah.
But a person, you can just go, oops, person.
Yeah. And now I have like more responsibilities than I can even fathom. And you were supposed to back then. And women had fewer, like just so many ands.
But I wouldn't be where I am career-wise if not for my son. Like that. I mean, you knew me in LA, bro. Like, there's a lack, and LA as a city has a lack of urgency. But I for sure have done more in the last 7 years than I did the first 15 or whatever the fuck it adds up to make 24 years. Like that, just it's unmatched. It's unmatched. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to anyone. Just fucking go make a baby. But
yeah, that's exactly right. Like you're not alone. I mean, it seems to be like an animating thing for people.
yeah, and it creates a level of focus and stakes to everything, which forces you to evolve. I'm thankful I'm evolving, but
beyond professionally.
Correct. But then you also have to start taking stock of yourself and going, all right, well, like to even be here today, all right, well, what the fuck do I need to, what's wrong? And I already had like 3 or 4 things like already sitting in the back.
You look
of my
at your
head,
phone like, fuck, I already got it.
Yeah. It's like, shit.
All right, well, here's a question. What are the positive ways you've evolved since you had the boy?
I think all of this. The only thing I need to work on, only thing I need to tighten up on is my health. But that's just because diet and exercise is just such a fucking scheduling. And it's easy to get caught up in just work. Because work is easy, work is comforting, work is familiar.
Work is also literal and you're good at it.
Sometimes
that's the thing that people always forget. It's like I like working because I'm good at. I'm like, it's a thing I'm good at.
It doesn't feel like work.
Right.
I enjoy this.
You're good at it. It's fun to like, you want to see me do karate? I'm good at karate. And even if you're not trying to impress somebody, it's just cool to do a thing you're good at.
I would say though, probably 95% of it is that. And then there's 5% of people that are like, okay, but I need you to go do 2 push-ups today.
Like right. Like, well, that's the thing. It's like
concerned.
Yes.
Too.
And you don't like exercise because I'm betting you're not incredibly good at it.
It also requires regular rest, which requires a schedule that is predictable, which requires you taking certain pots off the stove.
Right.
And that's something that I have to like reckon with and tighten up on. And the net, if we're just going on the aggregate of the last 7 years, health is net positive, but it's also the thing that I work at the least. So it's like, oh, I get better with barely,
Yeah.
Oh, I walk to the train instead of taking the $12 Uber. Or, oh, I'm starting to have oatmeal and eggs again in the morning. Well, that's a fucking boost. Like, little shit like that. So it's just a matter of being more conscious about it. But that's definitely something. You saw me in fucking LA 50 pounds ago.
You were 50 pounds heavier?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I don't even remember.
230 now. I was at my peak in LA, I was 285. 6'2", 285. Like I have the pictures, so I can go back and look.
I mean, now that you say it.
Yeah, like
I can picture it.
You ever see a picture of yourself from like years ago and you just want to like text the woman you were dating at the time?
Thank you for everything.
This is my bad. I didn't know I looked like that when I was out with you. You
God
really was
you.
trying.
I'm gonna send you a gift certificate.
You a good woman.
And what are the things you've done for your directly besides have a son? What have you done? Like made an effort, got a result in terms of all this mental health shit.
Taking brief moments to celebrate victories and things that I've accomplished.
You made a concerted effort to do that.
Correct.
Give me an example.
Correspondence dinner is a perfect example. I took myself to Hillstone and I had an $80 ribeye steak.
By yourself?
By myself. Didn't want to go with anyone. Didn't want to bring.
And you made them clear the dining room and you ate?
Yeah, no, but I am going to do that at Joe's Crab Shack when I get money.
Fantastic.
When I get real money, I'm going to go to Joe's Crab Shack.
Where's that?
I'm going to rent that bitch. It's a southern seafood chain. It's like Red Lobster with corny music playing all the time. The food's fucking amazing.
Great.
Atmosphere is terrible. So I want to shut that down.
Sure.
No music.
What do you think that'll
cost?
Turn all the
lights on.
Sounds like 11 grand. More?
They're about. I got to buy them out. So whatever
right, but what do you think the buyout is? You only got to buy them for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's true.
You could do this right now, Roy. I got news for you. You could do this after the correspondence thing. You could do this June 1st.
I don't think I'll ever be a person that truly celebrates anything. Not to the degree that other people do. Like, I think people get more excited for my shit sometimes than I do.
Do you find it like pride cometh before the fall?
Yeah, because it goes back to the light at the end of the tunnel. To me, that's not salvation. It's the train coming to hit me.
Right.
So you can send me all the congratulatory, oh, you got the White House course, good for you. And I'm sitting in the corner like, fuck, I gotta deliver.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm thinking about.
Yes.
And to the wrong person, they take that as rejection and they take it personally.
Yeah.
Which makes me not want to talk to you because you're not giving me space to do this on my terms.
Well,
Because
you're like the
celebrate.
sports guy when you win the division and you go like, I haven't won shit yet.
You got work to do. And that's literally, and that's how I approach it.
I totally relate to that. And I probably approach it the same way.
And that's, but the problem is that in certain relationships, if you are with someone that wants to celebrate everything because they celebrate everything for themselves, they're going to take that as rejection.
And you feel like a party pooper, even though it's supposed to be for you.
And the only alternative is to lie and pretend to be excited.
Fake
and
celebrate.
Go, hey,
and you go like, this is bad. I could be writing a joke right now for the correspondence.
Hey, let's go both celebrate with a steak. When I'm thinking, thanks for the text, but I need to get on this call with fucking Christiana and Angelo and start putting pieces together. Yeah. Because they don't understand the immense amount of pressure. I don't think anyone outside of entertainment truly understands what it takes to do this at a fiscally sustainable level year in and year out and provide without there being pressure. Like that degree of pressure of providing, I don't think they'll, especially in fucking New York. And it's nothing you can put into words. It's nothing you can say to someone, but they just don't understand how we operate with that fucking, well, it's fucking, it's Ray Liotta in Goodfellas helicopter. I'm constantly looking for the fucking helicopter. It's up there, man. I can see it. I can feel it, man. Yeah. Even if I'm wrong, and even if every year I've done more, well, I did more because I was my therapist says something fucked me up and I still ain't even like really processed it all the way. And she said something in the ballpark, I'm going to butcher it, but basically we have to be careful in leaning into the behaviors that helped us survive. Right. And letting go of them when it's time to thrive. Right. So
well, all right, great. Help me figure out what did what.
Yeah, but in the meantime, rent's due, motherfucker. Yeah. Yeah. So roll the dice and be wrong at this altitude. The fall is much further. So, I don't know. I think about that, but the fear keeps me honest. It keeps me focused. It keeps a work ethic high. My pops had a fucking hell of a work ethic.
I think it's ultimately positive to maybe not celebrate on the what we would call on the 9-yard line.
But you know what I will do? I will the day after it. Well, not the day after correspondent, but it's like 2 days after. I will fly myself to Chicago and I will sit at Wrigley Field and I will watch a Cubs game. And I'll turn my fucking phone off. And I'll just sit there like Thanos fucking after he.
Are you going to buy it out again? Fucking, like the steakhouse?
No. I did a suite at Wrigley one time. After I take my 2nd hour special, I'll never do that again.
Did you pay for it?
Oh, yeah. I'm not that famous. I'm not Bill Murray, motherfucker. They ain't just handing me no suite.
How many people were in the suite?
About 12, 13. It was fun, but I would do the suite alone. Like, that's my shit. I want nice shit, but I want to be alone.
Yeah. But if you're going to be a brat, be a fucking brat about it.
Yeah. I'm not Charlie Sheen bow left field rich yet. When I get to that.
And therapy's helped you a lot?
Yeah. Yeah. Just to sort through shit. Like, I think I'm fortunate in that I've had a decent degree of self-awareness. I just needed affirmation from somebody. Oh yeah, here's what you're thinking, here's what you're feeling. So do this and try that instead. Like that's been a big help. But I've never been on meds or suicidal or anything. Like I've never been in the deep end of the mental health pool.
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of cats who have, so it's given me a little bit of a better eye into myself some. Like even with to bring it back to ayahuasca, like even with
Roy did
that,
ayahuasca at the place I do ayahuasca.
I did half of
He did a
ayahuasca.
half. It's a 2-day ceremony. Roy did one.
I fucking dipped. That shit was scary. I was gone, bro. It wasn't scary. It was just a lot to take in.
You said it was like it was like too many people talking at a family barbecue.
Yeah.
Or some kind of family function.
Yeah. It was like being in a room because there were a lot of people there at the ceremony or whatever. But then in your head, it's just too many fucking people talking.
Was it people that you like forgot you knew kind of thing?
Yeah, I think
like
it was
aunties and uncles.
Yeah, but it was just more visualizations of them, just multiple visualizations of people and things and people you love and people you miss and stuff like that. And then having the realization in the moment that, oh, I want love. I want my son to know love. I have to, in order for my son to know love, he has to see love. So if I'm gonna show him love, I need to fucking be in love. I need to oh shit, I have to fucking be with somebody. I gotta be in love. Okay, well, what were my examples of love? And now we're right back to the day he was born. Well, what was my father's example? How did my father show me love? And then I think back to all of the moments that he had with the other woman and not my mom. I'm like, oh fuck. He was in love. For as much as
like he wouldn't have stayed with her if he wasn't in love. Like what you know about him.
Divorcing my mom, whatever, that could be its own. That's a separate thing. But my father loved that woman who he's buried next to. And when I go back and if we're just thinking about, okay, my job as a father is to prepare my son for the world, period, full stop. That is my only purpose on earth right now, is to prepare him for life without me. Love is one of those things he will have to figure out how to navigate, so I need to show him love. All right? What examples of love have I seen so far? Okay, my aunt, I got an aunt and an uncle. They always sneak and fuck at family functions. Check, all right? But we'll save that. My dad, oh shit. He checked the homework. He went to the practices. They had the food. Oh shit, that's love. It wasn't nothing personal.
Right.
It's just who he loved.
Yeah.
And it was complicated. Of course it's complicated when you're on your 11th fucking child. Yes, there are hurdles to having wrinkle-free happiness.
He had challenges.
Yes. So that realization, but then you have to first love yourself. And so then that's where the journey of, okay, well, what do I want? What makes me happy? What do I want to do? Because you can't meet nobody while you fucking, like, how's somebody gonna make you happy? You ain't happy with you.
Right.
So you gotta start with you first. So you gotta rebuild. So you start with that shit. So it's a little bit of that. And then the other revelation I had was everything I've ever wanted to do, like I've felt indebted to my mom for all of the sacrifices that she's made. And it's nothing she's ever asked. She's never held shit over my head. But I look and I go, oh, I just want my mom to not have to work so hard. I love my mom. Everything I've ever done was just so I wouldn't be a burden on her. That's why I was busting my ass, so that she wouldn't have to worry about me. It's a fucking great feeling for your mom, and I don't know if she would admit this, but I remember when I paid off my student loans, finally, I don't know, when I made my last student loan payment, there was a weird relief from her.
Right.
You know,
she acknowledged it.
Yeah. She was like, oh, well, I'm glad you finally got, like I could tell she was smiling.
Yeah.
Even, you know, moms worry. So to always be able to put her in a position where she doesn't have to worry about me, like that's a gift. And like, it's like, oh, everything was just about letting my mom know I'm okay. Is that why I work so hard? Oh. And then I woke up the next morning like, fuck this shit. I'm going back to New York. Like, you have those two revelations within a 6-hour span?
Yeah.
I'm straight on night 2, bro.
Yeah.
I don't need to ever do it again. Like, I don't know how, like, the people who do the ayahuasca, oh, every weekend, I've done it 20 times. You might be in a different space.
Yeah.
For me, I'm good, bro. I got what I needed. I will return to drinking old fashions with extra orange.
Well, but I would also commend you for being willing, because you're not mentally unwell. Like, you're like pretty from the outside in, even in, like, I think I know you pretty well. I think you're like pretty even. You're like you're all right.
Yeah.
You know? So the fact that you will go to therapy, the fact that you will drink ayahuasca, the fact that you will like tune into yourself is admirable. Even realizing, like, squeezing your baby. Do you know what I mean? Like, even being a
I can tell you never held a baby.
How do you do it? Like this?
You bring him up here
it's
vertical.
Like a log.
You heard that baby vertical.
Well, I'm not going to do this to illustrate a goddamn point. I've held 10 babies in my. I'll have you know, it's just cool. It's like a cool thing that, like, culturally, it's not. It's like kind of, you know, like, it's getting cooler. But I give you this. I salute you for trying. But the bigger one is tuning into yourself more than like doing activities, therapy, ayahuasca, whatever. It's being actually tuning into yourself and actually like, what do I want?
Yeah,
it's a hard thing it's the most obvious question in the world, and it's like the one that people ask it as an afterthought.
Yeah. Yeah, once I get this sugar out my system this month, I'm going to be a fucking beast. I get so much clarity when there's like no coffee in my bloodstream for like 2-3 weeks. And I'm like, that's when I'm like, oh, I see the matrix code, bitch. Like, so, yeah. A woman asked me that one time, like, what do I want? And I couldn't answer her.
It's hard to know. Well, it's also, like a lot of responsibility.
But it's also weird where you get like, did you ever have this point in your career where you looked at everything you were chasing and you're just like, do I even want any of it?
I always say it's just a velvet rope. But I'm like, I want back there. What do you know what's back there? I don't know, but I know I'm not allowed to go in. So I want in.
Yeah.
And the other question I ask is like, okay, if I do that, then what? Who will I be then?
I know that all I know for sure career-wise, like, you could host a show, you could do a sitcom, whatever. All I know for sure is that I have 3 stand-up specials left in me. I might still like go and do comedy, whatever.
Right.
But I don't imagine I'll have anything else to say after these next 3 specials, where it's just about me and fatherhood.
It's
and
still
my
10 years
dad,
though.
and yeah, it'll take a while, but like, even just like the idea of from 16 years old to now, every life lesson that I learned was from someone other than my father. Those stories alone is an hour.
Yeah.
Of just serious shit, light shit, what you name it.
Yeah.
That alone, without even getting into my own shit, just here's all the substitute teachers that I had along the way. You can explore that. I can explore my dad. I can explore, you know, my son and I. And I think that'll be enough. I don't like it's still fun to do for TV, for Daily Show, to just talk about issues in the
Yeah.
world. But for me, compiling another hour of, I've done it 3 times. I want to talk about something else. And then also, I think to a degree, if I do it right, then those specials and stuff like that, maybe that can serve as some breadcrumbs for the boy so he can put together his own shit when I'm gone.
Right.
You know, because my dad didn't give me that. I don't have that. Like, none of us in our generations have that. That's the real advantage we have in this generation, is that you can leave your kids with something to, hey, here's some of the pieces you might be having trouble with putting together now that you're 50 or, you know, like whatever.
Yeah. It's hard to know when to leave it though, because it's like, do you leave it at, there's like tax things and 18 and 26 and.
Yeah, I've thought about that. Like, I don't know, like you think about Superman, the old school Christopher Reeve Superman. He just would fly to the North Pole and FaceTime, pop in a fucking cassette tape from his dad. Hello, son.
Yeah.
And he would fucking get advice.
He would drop some game.
And then fly back to Metropolis and fucking.
Yeah. Take the crystal out. Those are the best ones. Roy Wood, you're a great dude, and I'm glad we're friends.
I don't know if we got to all the boxes. I'm sorry.
No, we did. Boxes? We did. I really wanted to get to. We got to them.
Okay.
Because nobody knows what you texted me.
That's fair. Good time, man.
Good time. You goddamn right. All right, buddy.